Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Cricket Unfiltered. I'm Menas, and the Women's Ashes is underway, and Australia won the first test by 89 runs, which nets them 4 points. So I'm thrilled to be joined by one of the stars of that team, right-arm fast bowler Kim Garth. Kim has played 91 international matches representing both Ireland and Australia. Kim, welcome to the podcast. Where do we find you now?
Thanks so much. Currently in Birmingham. So we're starting our prep for the T20s, which start tomorrow night at Edgbaston.
Yeah, it must be very exciting after the test match win. Tell me, what was it like when you found out you'd be making your test debut and getting the coveted baggy green?
Yeah, it was incredibly exciting. Definitely a unique journey. But yeah, once Shell's kind of sat me down and told me that I'd be playing, it was just all very exciting. And then, morning of the test match, I was very, very nervous. But it was awesome to have my family there as well. That was really cool. And for Mel Jones to present me with my baggy green. And then, obviously the coin toss went up and we were batting. So I think it delayed my nerves a bit more, to be honest. But the whole thing was really cool and very exciting.
Well, that's great. So I know both your parents played for Ireland in international cricket. So, what was it like for them to see their daughter, walk out there and, play a test match?
Yeah, I think they're obviously incredibly proud. And it was really, really nice, as I said, to have them there. And they were really excited to be able to be there as well. I guess in essence, it was like a home game for them. Just they flew 40 minutes across the water. So they were just delighted that they could get to be there. And I guess growing up with my brothers, just having test cricket on the TV all the time and then to be part of one was incredibly exciting. And yeah, as I said, they were very, very proud and just really, really happy to be there on the day, I suppose.
Absolutely. And so it was a great test match, and it took till you got your first test wicket in the second innings. Ash Gardner did let you have one. Sophia Dunkley caught behind. What was it like when you got your first test wicket?
Yeah, I think relief more than anything. Felt like I bowled quite well throughout the test match. It was pretty flat at times. But yeah, just to get that breakthrough at a pretty important time as well, just towards the end of play. I think on day 4, when they kind of had a little bit of a partnership starting to build, it was relief, excitement and happiness, I guess, all combined into one.
Yeah, it was such a good match, and you're right. England, came out of the blocks hard, chasing the 4th innings total. Well, I think they were none for 50 before your team struck. So, I guess, what Ash Gardner 8 for 66, 12 for the match, the first woman to take 8 for in an innings in a Test match. What was it like being out there for that performance, and how good was it?
Yeah, it was awesome. I think Ash has made a name for herself with the bat, I suppose, more than anything. But I think the thing that's been so impressive about her cricket over the last 2 years is that she's turned into a genuine all-rounder and in all 3 formats as well. Her bowling in T20 cricket, I played with her in the WPL there in March, and she bowled at some of the hardest times. And, bowling off spin isn't an easy thing to do in white ball cricket. But yeah, then to obviously transfer her skills across to the red ball, it was awesome to watch, and she couldn't miss really there by the end of it, when she got into her spell. So yeah, it was awesome to be part of, and look, she's an incredible cricketer, and so no surprises really, but it was pretty cool.
And how were the celebrations after the test match?
Yeah, they were great. We stayed in the rooms for a while, for a few hours at Trent Bridge, and then went had a bit of a team gathering after. Just to kind of debrief, I guess, the 5 days. It was all very emotional. It takes it out of you. The nervous energy and the ups and downs across the 5 days. So it was cool to just kind of sit down, debrief, and enjoy each other's company and celebrate what was a big 5 days.
Yeah, I imagine. I grew up watching Ian Healy keeping with broken fingers all the time, and I hear Jelisa Healy, put in an absolutely monumental captain's effort, 50 in the second innings, and then keeping with 2 broken fingers. I mean, did you have any idea how much pain she was in on that last day?
Yeah, I think we were aware that she was in a bit of pain, but yeah, look, for her to go out and first of all play that innings, she'd come off the back of a few low scores or a few no scores, I think, and they were very quick to remind her about that. But once she got off the mark, she was absolutely flying. To play in innings like that at such an important time was huge in the context of the game. And then she was so tidy with the gloves as well. And as you said, she was in a lot of pain, and a lot of the time, I think for most of the second innings, stood up to the stumps for the quicks and obviously the spinners. So yeah, she had a massive role to play for us, and she did really well. Yeah, given the circumstances.
Yeah, and what's it like for a player like yourself that plays, predominantly limited overs cricket, and in the Australian pathways there is no red ball cricket for female players. What's it like then making the jump to a 5-day test match in the the cauldron of an Ashes contest?
Yeah, it's certainly very different. But I think lucky for me and obviously the team, I suppose usually the test match kind of sits in the middle of the white ball stuff. So there's not a whole lot of prep. It's kind of white ball prep and then straight to red ball and then back to white ball. But because this was obviously the first game of the series, we kind of had our month leading up to the test back home in Australia. We had camps which were very red ball focused, and we had a fair lead into it with the red ball and training with the red ball. So yeah, look, there was a lot of red ball prep, which was really cool. But I guess nothing really prepares you for the game until you're out there. We did have a few practice games, but yeah, look, it was really cool. It was definitely something that took a while to get my head around, and just being able to work into my spell a bit more and try and be a little bit more patient. But look, it was awesome, and yeah, it was a really fun few days.
Is it quite simply as a fast bowler transitioning that you just try to sort of bowl more consistent line and length, and whereas in limited overs cricket you try and vary your deliveries more?
Yeah, it's definitely part of it. Definitely part of it, but I guess also just trying to figure out, you've got a bit more time to figure out the batter and try and set them up. And yeah, there's all sorts of fun and games, I suppose, that come with that. But yeah, obviously trying to work a batter over for a longer period of time mainly, and just getting used to the red ball as well, which swings for a lot longer, and it's different to the kookaburra. So there's a few things that come into it, but yeah, look, certainly enjoyed that challenge.
And where do you stand on the amount of women's test cricket? Every time there's an exciting test match, the cries from sections of the media, should there be more women's test cricket? My opinion is I feel like it's about right at the moment, because while those pathways are developing, that, it's a big challenge and puts a lot of strain on the players. But, where do you sit on it?
Yeah, look, it's an interesting question. I think, yeah, like I'd be similar, hold a similar opinion to yourself, where it's probably okay where it is at the moment, but I do think there's probably a bit more scope for, I guess the top teams to play against each other. Yeah, it's a tricky one, because you obviously don't want to leave the other teams behind. But yeah, while I guess this test match showed that the standard is there, and it was an awesome game across the 5 days. But yeah, look, it's really exciting that we've got another test match coming up in India over Christmas time, and then another test match again against South Africa at the back end February. So I guess that's essentially three test matches in the space of a season, which I think is probably about right. And yeah, the girls love being part of it and playing test cricket, but as you said, it is difficult with no pathways, red ball cricket. It's hard to kind of get your head around it with little prep, but I guess with more games you learn more. So it's a fine line, I suppose, and an interesting balance. But yeah,
no, it is a tricky one. But I mean, I love watching women's test cricket, and yeah, I just know, I see players developing at Premier cricket level in Sydney, and I just know that, there's such a big gap between the standards that probably just needs, if we can get some red ball cricket into the pathways, more 50 over cricket, I think that'll be so good for the development of the game. So very experienced international cricketer. Kim played 10 years for Ireland, but almost 10 years. But what's it like then, just sort of jumping into an Ashes contest? I mean, does it feel hotter, and can you feel the eyes of the world on the team?
Yeah, I guess so. Having lived in Australia now for 5 or 6 years, I get the the thrill around the Ashes, and the build up, and what it means to Australians, and I guess the English people in a way, as to what it's like to be part of the Ashes, and the hype around the Ashes. So look, it is different, but yeah, I've loved every minute of it, and yeah, look, it's I guess it's only the start of the series is just been completed, so there's a long way to go in that, but it's really, really cool to be part of. And over here as well, it's something different that the English crowds have a little bit to say at times, which is cool, and a bit sad when you're out there at the time, but it's great for the game.
Yeah, I mean, Ireland has a healthy rivalry with England too, in all sports, so I guess you can draw into that a little bit. So, I mean, you left Ireland to come to Australia in 2019, just before COVID.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, what was the driving force behind that decision?
Yeah, I guess it was just ultimately I wanted to play professional cricket, and not have to work in an office, I guess, and be able to do that full time. And I had spent a couple of summers playing grade cricket in Melbourne, and I'd been part of a couple of Big Bash campaigns as well, and got a real taste of what it was like through that. And I suppose from there, I kind of went back home every winter, or Irish summer, I guess, and yeah, I really just wanted to do it full time, and it wasn't something that I could really do at the time in Ireland. And yeah, I took the leap of faith, and Cricket Victoria offered me a contract then. I think it was the same day that the borders shut to Australia with COVID. So it was an interesting time, but yeah, I made the big move, and haven't really looked back since.
So, how have you settled in Victoria, making a new life, playing for Victoria and the Melbourne Stars? I mean, you say you couldn't go home and visit your family for a few years. So, how were you able to settle in, and what was the support like from Cricket Victoria?
Yeah, the support has been awesome from Cricket Victoria. We've got a really, really great group of girls in that program, and a lot of them whom I would consider my very close friends, which is really nice. And very lucky for us, we were actually able to train throughout COVID. So we kind of had, I guess, that's something to do almost every day, which we were very fortunate, with the rest of the state being in a very hard lockdown. I think if that wasn't in place, there's every chance I probably would have gone home at that stage, because it was a tough few years, but that kind of kept me sane, is being on it, going in and being able to see the girls every day, and train, and get that bit of social stimulation as well, I suppose.
Yeah, and what's it like being playing in the WNCL and the WBBL since you made the move?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I think it's helped my cricket a lot. It really, really has. Just the standard of domestic cricket in Australia is awesome. It's really, really good, and yeah, just playing with my mates, training with them pretty much every day when I am back in Australia is really cool as well, because as I said, it's a great group of girls, and we've got a pretty similar crew in the Melbourne Stars and the Victorian team. And then a few of them here as well with Australia. So yeah, it's really, really cool.
And a big news today that Australia have announced a squad to go to Ireland after the Ashes and play 3 one-day internationals, and you will be you're part of that squad. So, I mean, what's that feeling like to be now returning to Ireland as an Australian international cricketer?
Yeah, it's obviously very exciting. I'm a little bit nervous about the whole thing, but I guess excitement more than anything to be able to go home and play a few games back in my hometown, I guess, will be very exciting. So yeah, look, obviously big job here to do before then, but yeah, with the announcement this morning, and it's pretty exciting.
Are you nervous about playing your old teammates?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm a pretty nervous cricketer as it is, kind of no matter who I play against. But obviously, there's a bit of added spice being against my former team, and a few of the girls are still around now who I played with. So there'll certainly be nerves at the time, but yeah, I guess excitement as well. Get to show a lot of my close friends here on this team, kind of where I grew up, and my side of the tracks, I guess. So yeah, it should be cool as well.
Yeah, what was Cricket Ireland like about your decision to leave and play for Australia?
Yeah, they were very supportive, which made the whole thing a lot easier. Being from the organisation, and also my now former teammates were all very supportive of the decision, which was really nice to I suppose have their backing, and definitely made the whole thing a lot easier.
Well, that's lovely to hear. And um, you made your, I think, Australian debut in November last year. I mean, what you put it all on the line, and you left your family, you left Ireland, you moved to the other side of the world, which is a big thing. What was the sense of achievement like when you made the Australian squad for the first time? Because you sacrificed a lot for it, so it must have been very satisfying.
Yeah, it definitely was. It definitely was. And it wasn't something I always really looked to do, to be honest. I was quite happy over in Australia just playing, domestic cricket, and having a really great group of girls around me. And then I guess through some consistent seasons with the ball, kind of managed to make my way into contention for the side. But then, yeah, obviously to get that call, and once I had qualified for Australia, and to get that call from the national selector, it was, it was overwhelming, to be honest. It was incredibly exciting. And then once I guess the occasion happened, I had my parents there as well, which was awesome. And to play my debut in front of, I think it was 30,000 people in India. I was terrified at the time, but it's something I look back on and I think, wow, how cool is that, and how cool is all this. So yeah, I'm very proud of what I've achieved so far, I guess, and hopefully plenty more to come.
Absolutely, it's hard when you ride in the heat of an Ashes battle. So just to wind up, you got the T20 series starting soon. How are the preparations going? Obviously, England are a dangerous side in all forms, but you look at Sophie Eccleston and Danny White and some of their players. They pose a lot of threats. So how's the preparation going in the Australian camp?
Yeah, it's going great. Really, really well. I know England are a very good T20 side, and we're well aware of that. But at the same time, I guess we're trying to, just concentrate on our own game. And I think the one great thing about this team, and why or we, should I say, are so successful, is that we're very adaptable team. Kind of generally tend to have answers for everything that's thrown at us. So yeah, look, I think it's we're very aware that the threat that England pose, but also trying to just concentrate on ourselves, and shifting that format to white ball cricket.
Yeah, it's an envious position for Australia, needing just 2 wins out of 6 games to secure the Ashes. So, the carrot's dangled in front of you. How's your preparation going for the white ball? Are you switching up from that red ball stuff now?
Yeah. We had our first training. We had a couple of days off after the test match, and then our first training back yesterday. So it was a bit different having bowled with a red ball for about 6 weeks to then going back to the white ball, and the batters standing there trying to smash every ball for 6. It wasn't too fun. But yeah, look, it's something I'm sure we'll adapt to pretty quickly, with the game being tomorrow. So yeah, it's going well. Thank you.
Oh, great. And who are some of your good friends within the Australian team that have really sort of helped you integrate into the group?
Yeah, well, obviously there's a couple of Victorians. So I've got Elise Perry, Annabelle Sutherland, and Georgia Wareham, and Meg as well, I guess, when she's around. But also we've got become quite close with Ash Gardner, which has been really nice. I think we're quite similar in many ways. But to be honest, all the girls have been awesome, and it's a really, really easy group to come into and feel part of, which is it's really cool.
Yeah, it must be a little daunting though, walking into that Australian dressing room. Well, even now with all those legends around you, do you just sort of pinch yourself sometimes?
Yeah, a little bit. I think I've managed to find my feet, and I feel quite comfortable in the dressing room now. But it took a little bit of time, and especially at the start, I guess there was definitely moments where I was like, holy crap, look at this. I've got all these amazing players around me, and I'm now part of this team. But as I said, it's a very welcoming group, and I'm very thankful for that.
Well, that's great to hear. Well, Kim, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I mean, congratulations. It is a wonderful story. As I said, you put it all on the line, and you've achieved something very special. So, good luck for the rest of the Ashes, and look forward to watching you playing against Ireland soon.
No worries. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Kim.